listen to what you said before and putting together this report, the committee didn't have a direction you wanted to go. I sort of found that refreshing to hear because over the last several months, certainly people have, and investment banks and firms have approached us and tried to sell this issue. And frankly, when I come to talk and talk about PPPs, it's usually about defending the fact that it's not new money. So to hear that, at least in the committee report, that there's an acknowledgement that it's not new money, I think is a good thing. At risk of sounding like the obstinate, pessimistic government bureaucrat who does not want to move forward with public-private partnerships, I did promise myself, and in thinking about it, that there are opportunities as we look at this to go in this way. I view them a little bit differently than I think that the report did in focusing on efficiencies and really what we're trying to get around. And I would take even the SAMUSA contract that Iris knows I was not involved in, but in areas that we should look at in where government has never gone before. Government traditionally is not an advertiser or a marketer. Government traditionally does not do certain things. We don't do, one thing I always talk about is not necessarily new money, but energy efficiencies. That's an area that we in the city is one of our highest priorities this way, is trying to reduce energy costs. Well, frankly, city government doesn't have the institutional knowledge or the expertise to actually look at a building and say, I got to do X, Y, and Z to reduce our expenditures by a certain amount. Now, in that circumstance, I think it's worthwhile looking to a public-private partnership in that area in some fashion because they have an expertise that the city government doesn't have. But when it comes to new money, like I said, usually I'm prepared to argue up and down. We do have access to the credit markets. I think design, build, and finance is not an option for the city of New York, although I do recognize, especially during the national debate, and we've been working very closely with Governor Schwarzenegger and Ed Rendell about national infrastructure banks and the like, and I recognize that other municipalities throughout the country may not have access to the credit markets like we do here in New York City, where in fact the cost of capital is much cheaper than any equity investment can